What's up, everybody? We're back. I'm Sam.
I'm Ben.
And we are Bandsmen Games, and today we are reviewing the indie horror game known as Bermudes. So we played this game a few days ago on our channel, and if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. There'll be a card in the corner.
Yes.
Because without it, this video might not make much sense.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're going to jump straight into the review. And we play through and review indie games every single week on this channel, so if you like that kind of thing, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's jump into it.
Alright, so Bermudes was by Sky Greg Z. It's his first game that he's ever made, and it took us about 15 minutes to get through the actual game.
So on the topic of game design, it was a good atmosphere. I would say the game felt good. It felt intense and scary. You're on an island that, I'm assuming from the name, is in the Bermuda Triangle.
Right.
You're on an island the whole time. One thing that we did notice in the description of the game, all of the models are from online sources. So he didn't do custom model design, but I think that in the future the game could use for some custom models, and that could really flesh it out and make it seem a little bit more professional. One thing we noticed is more things could have been animated, I think. So some trees moving, maybe some animals. When you saw the main antagonist or ghost, it just kind of like slid across the ground and it was a little jarring. Broke the immersion a little bit. So some animations could really use to pull you into the game a little bit more. But for a first game, that's all forgivable stuff, and I'm sure that if this goes farther, we'll see it in the future. One thing that we noticed is as you play through the game, when it gets more intense, the brightness lowers and brightens, and it gives it a bit of a spectral feel, and we really liked that little extra detail. It's almost imperceptible, but it really pulls you in, because immersion is really important for games like this. And overall, the entire atmosphere combined to make it a very intense game, and I would say, overall, it was successful.
It was very interacting with object. Wait, cut back. Alright. Gameplay. So, the actual gameplay was very linear and just like really fluid. It was not like very confusing. You knew where you were trying to go. Kind of like walking down an alley. It was very one way. You knew where you're going, and it made it very clear. Interacting with objects was a little weird. It would, I don't know, it was just something confusing. It would show you, and then it would just go away. So just kind of, I don't know if there's a way to work on that so that it always just stays there when you're looking at it. It's very easy to follow and know what's going on besides that, really. It was, you would hear a noise, and you follow the noise. There would be a big thing, and you would just go towards that. There was not much music, however. That might have been a good thing just for the effect. I think if you had like a creepy music, it would just take the intensity level up a couple notches. But besides that, really smooth mechanics. It was a pretty good walking animation. Everything just seemed to flow.
So on the topic of the actual story of the game begins and you just crashed your plane on an island. You don't really know where you are and you're looking for a part. And it was well laid out who you are, where you're coming from, just with pieces of text on the screen. And that's all good for a first game. I think if this were to go farther, putting a cutscene in there could be really cool. And showing some of the stuff he talked about with having his wife pass away and his daughter being sick. The one thing we noticed is it said nothing about why we're in a plane or why we crashed, so some more info on that could be good, or even in the form of another cutscene, or like a playable cutscene type thing. The Last of Us comes to mind, the way that game starts. So everything leading up to the start of the game is well laid out, but we notice after you start the game, it's just a little, it's not hard to follow, but the game, what am I saying? Oh my goodness. After you start the game, after you've landed, the story doesn't really develop from there, and it would be cool to have some more interactable objects with clues, and we're figuring out more about who lives on this island and how it's populated, what the deal is, what the ghost is, and I think there's a huge opportunity with the way this game's laid out linearly to add things like that. So that brings us to the ending of the game, which was a really cool concept with the villain multiplying and it being terrifying, and we think that we die at the end, but it was just not laid out too clearly. It was the one part of the game that was just kind of confusing and could have used some extra information and maybe could be stylized a little bit better. But overall, the story is better than a lot of indie games I've played.
It was a solid starting point. I'm sure it could grow into something truly terrifying and fun to play. So we would definitely recommend it though while it's free.
Yeah.
Out on itch.io. I don't know if we'll leave the link.
Yeah, link will be in the description. And don't forget the description.
There is no description over here.
Don't forget to leave a subscribe if you want to see more indie game reviews and thoughts, and leave a comment with the word Albert because it's my favorite name.
Yep.
And stay tuned for 1,000 subscribers because Ben's gonna tell you what his favorite name is.
That he will.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.